morning. Call the meeting to order. Let us pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor.
Let's pray together. Father, we come to you today knowing that we are blessed when we trust in you. Father, I pray that today we would be mindful that you are God alone. Lord, I pray that you would direct this meeting and that you would guide our leaders in this community. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Good morning, everyone. We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Carl?
Here.
Commissioner Walters?
Here.
Commissioner Altman? Here. Commissioner Smith? Present. Commissioner Burgo?
Here.
Are there any corrections or additions to the consent agenda?
Motion that we approve the consent agenda as printed.
Support. Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reading of the cash balances.
Yes, we, in the 101 general fund, we have $59,408.81. In the 516 unallocated cash balance is $76,417.60. And that gives us a total of $135,826.41 before the bills. Then we advanced $100,000 from the 216E 911 fund. That was approved at the last meeting.
It was approved in January.
I didn't hear you, Chris.
It was approved in January.
Oh, January.
Have finance reports and claims.
Yep, we received a letter from Cole, Stoker, and Trusky, PC, a list of files for destruction, and we need to make a decision whether to destroy the files or authorize them to destroy the files or take some other actions. The letter was, I don't know if everybody got a copy of it, but and the list, the copy it was, did everybody read that? Read it out, okay? Because some of those in there, I'm not certain that they should be destroyed yet.
It's my understanding, and correct me if I'm not right or wrong, some of those are just attorney's notes.
Yeah, these are the attorney files with the notes. The actual cases, if they were filed, are a permanent record and will always be a permanent record.
So it's your opinion we don't really need that what you're saying, Mark?
Well, I'll let you guys make your own opinion, but, yeah, they're attorney notes. If there's any that you don't feel comfortable with, then by all means, you shouldn't ask them to destroy them, and you can have them sent here and store them. But they're not the actual case file, they're more attorney notes and filings.
Well, this is the first time this type of issues come before me. I still remember. And I understand why lawyers destroy files because space storage, etc.
There's an attorney.
I think we'll get with Doug and see what we need to get rid of people.
Well, they've got a drop dead date of 14 days from the 18th, I think it was. So,
We'll get with Doug Jake. Yes.
If you choose to have them picked up, I'll be down there at the end of April. And I can pick them up, I just picked some up for us, so.
We'll let you know after we get done.
Yeah. Okay. Well, mispronounce Stacy's last name. Is it Gashel? What? Gasichel. Thank you. She's a district court probation officer. She submitted a request for the payment of the renewal of her certifications in the amount of $135. And this payment will be paid from the 101-136-804-000 fund. And I'll make the motion to authorize that payment.
I'll support.
Motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and our treasurer, Christie, would like the other authorization to advance funds from the 516 unallocated fund to the general fund as we need it to pay the bills. The advance will be repaid by December 2014. I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that is all we have on the finance reports this morning.
Okay. Everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from last March 11th meeting?
Move for approval of the minutes, March 11th.
Is there support? Motion support, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Is there any public comments? Okay, Gina?
Good morning. These two sooner, so I apologize. I have one for you too. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, late year this year, we were able to finish surveying. A couple of counties did not get the opportunity to complete their surveying. We just had a terrible winter this year and a lot of setbacks, and I myself was out for a while for surgery too, so that set us back a little bit, but we were able to complete. So we have 5 blocks. That's it, 865 acres. So not very much. It's a little bit more than what last year was, but still, you know, something that needs to be treated. So it's my request to ask the board to allow me to sign the agreement. It's not a contract because we've already done our contract. It's a 3-year contract. This is just the 3rd year of it. And this is just an agreement for the price that we allowed for a fuel clause in there when we did it 3 years ago. And the price hasn't changed, so.
Everyone had a chance. We hope they froze to death, is what you're saying?
Well, you know, that's a possibility. You know, Lucille and I and other county have been talking about that, and we're gonna go out this spring, but we won't know until then, last minute, if we've gotten any winter kill. The cold would do it, but the snow acts like an insulation. So if we would have had the cold without the snow, it would have been a better possibility, but having both, the snow kind of insulates it, so. But if that happens and we get enough winter kill that we don't need to treat, then we don't need to treat this year. It's definitely something that we look for.
When will it be spring?
I'm sorry?
When?
Typically, you know, it's always hard to say, but it's usually around the middle to the end of May. Just depends on the weather and how soon spring is gonna warm up and how fast they're gonna progress, so.
And we'll let the townships and the city or whoever know that we're gonna be spraying that.
Yep, I send maps and notifications out to all the townships. I send them out to every individual homeowner. And I do get with Stephanie at the paper, and she puts a notice in the paper too. And when the date gets close, I can usually know within a couple of days. So I do my best to let everybody know as best as I can.
How many more acres this year than last year?
Oh, only about 100.
About 100 more?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, not much more. You know, we've been able to kind of keep our acreage down because we're fortunate enough that we're surrounded by counties who treat as well.
Correct.
So we're only, you know, having to treat our isolated hotspots and not so much that blows in from the other communities because most of them do treat.
Any other questions, Regina?
So there's a few things, and I did give you copies of all the maps. I also gave you copies of the new BT information. The BT that we use is, of course, a biological pesticide, but it is safe for use in organic productions. And there's some new labels and a new material safety data sheet. So I did give that to you as well. I do give it to everybody else, but in case you're asked for it, then you have it because it is new. And so I guess the motion to sign the agreement, and then there's 2 other issues that I need to request signatures for, so.
I'll make a motion that Junior be allowed to sign this agreement.
Support.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the second one would be the pilot has to apply for a congested area permit through the FAA. And the chairman and myself have to sign a letter stating that we are authorizing him to apply for that permit. So it's my request that the chairman and myself be allowed to sign that letter.
You need that motion?
So moved.
I think so.
Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Several years ago, the DEQ threw at me that national pesticide discharge management plan that I must compile through the National Pollutant Elimination System or something. So it's this huge document that I have to compile and maintain and keep it up to date. And anytime I make a change in there, there is a signature page in it. So this year, there was a lot of updates, and Josh was the last one to sign it, so I think we need to have a new signature page. It has mine on there as the person who completed, maintains, and puts together the plan, but then we need an actual signatory for the county, and I feel that is obviously the chairman, so permission to allow him to sign that.
And so move.
Support.
Motion support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And that, no, we're fine, thank you.
You know, that might be a good thing too, after it's signed off on, that you give a copy to our emergency management, only because it's
The
in
plan?
charge of accidents in case there's an issue.
I usually do give him copies of maps, and when I'm gonna spray, I usually give a call to the sheriff's department and emergency management and let them know, hey, we're spraying tomorrow. Because they get phone calls, you know, hey, there's a plane going down, and then they know it's just, you know, gypsy money, so, but, thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
No worries.
A little ahead of time, but Josh, are you?
Sure. Thanks for having me. You guys have a 5309 project request form. There's two different forms. The project request came about because we had a bus breakdown, one, and I contacted the state. This bus had 360,000 miles on it. It was able to pool some funds from 2006 and 2007, funds that were left over. And so we are shy a bit short, but essentially I'm here to give permission for the intent, so we can submit that to the state of Michigan, along with $30,000 out of our retained earnings, up to 30, so we can get this bus purchased. That's the first step. So I need a motion.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Reed.
Support.
Motion supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Additionally, the resolution of intent, I'd ask for that as well. That's a separate thing.
And so move.
Support.
Motion supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
No, resolution.
Resolution?
Yep. Commissioner Carl?
Yes.
Commissioner Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Altman?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Burgo?
Yes.
And I won't take up much of your time, but essentially in 2009, throughout the state of Michigan, multiple transits were issued, additional buses, and CCT was issued roughly 9. So all those buses are coming to the point right now where they're in dire need of replacement. This one bus being down has really shorted our Beaverton runs, so people in Beaverton have been waiting, so we've been really stretching our drivers, trying to make sure that people in Beaverton don't have to wait, an hour to be picked up and so on and so forth. So we have this bus coming now, thank you, and we're working on, we have some other funds out on the side, some road task force funds, to grab another bus here shortly, so I'm gonna have to come back, I apologize, but the state don't have that paperwork done yet for us, so. Anything else?
Do you have anything else to do? While we got you here, you've been hard to catch,
I am
so
going to-
would you like to read that to Commissioner?
This is a resolution of appreciation on this 25th day of February 20, or actually this is March 2014, but it says February. Whereas Josh Reed served Gladwin County as a district commissioner from 2004 to 2014, representing Buckeye and Tobacco Townships, and whereas Josh Reed soon was recognized as a leader among his peers with election as the board chair during a period of financial stress. And whereas Josh Reed earnestly sought the counsel of county and township officials and employees as to methods to provide services to county residents in an effective and efficient fashion, and whereas Josh Reed was upfront in his dealings with employees and the public with a goal to be equitable to all, and whereas Josh Reed exemplifies the concept of service before self with hours and days devoted to his duties, often balancing family and work obligations. And whereas Josh Reed has left the ranks of district commissioner to concentrate his service in managing public transportation programs in Gladwin County, with his new duties simply another way to move Gladwin County forward. Now therefore, in session assembled, the Gladwin County Board of District Commissioners express its sincere appreciation to Josh Reed for his service to the county, its citizens. Thank you, and wishes him Godspeed in his future endeavors.
Finally caught you. We have a resolution on the floor to take and vote on.
I move that we adopt this resolution.
Roll call.
Commissioner Walters?
Yes.
Commissioner Altman?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Burgle?
Yes.
Commissioner Carl?
Yes.
Got something for you.
Can I comment?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We don't have time for that.
And it's not just Josh Reed, it was all of us here getting through some of these times. We didn't always get along, but we made it.
Bob, could you give us your report for drainage?
Yes, I believe you all have a copy of the annual report from the Commission. I'd like to thank whoever it was that had our nice summer last year and last week, and now we're back in the winter, but I guess it's actually been a pretty good year for us. We had some concerns early on with all the snow, obviously, but with a little frost in the ground, most of it went into the ground rather than running off, so we're still got our fingers crossed on the rest of it. We've had a few minor issues, but nothing major. I guess, do you have any questions on the annual report, or is there a particular spot I want to hit, or if not, I guess it's there for your presentation, and we'll be cleaning some drains again this summer, and hopefully we'll make a dent in it and get some of the problem areas taken care of that we've had for a few years.
Any questions or Trevor?
If you're going to do clean drains, are you going to make sure that the people whose land is going to be cut up will be notified prior to any work that's happening?
They were notified last year, or end of the last 2 years. It's going to be a little easier now because we had Spicer do our engineering and digitize a lot of the records. In the past, you had to physically go down through and identify each individual property, get an address for each one of those individuals, and there were some discrepancies, mainly a little bit of overlap between the GIS system and the drainage districts. So some people got notified that weren't in the districts, some of them didn't that were in, but I think we've gotten most of those ironed out. But yeah, that's our intention and always has been, because we want to notify people. We usually notify them before we get there. The problems that we get into sometimes are, and I think I've brought this up to you before, we'll have a 5-foot culvert in the drain. Say a mile up, we have another 5-foot culvert in between in the woods somewhere. Somebody's put an 18-inch culvert in, and then they want me to replace that with a 5-foot, which is, you're aware that as doing these projects under maintenance, we cannot buy culverts. We can replace the existing ones that are legal and should be there. But most of the cases, and I think you're talking about some of them, someone is, that particular one 7-foot culvert, and they had a 32-inch culvert in there, and it was holding a lot of water back upstream. Well, obviously, we have to take that out, and that creates some problems for people. We put them in there. I tell people, if they buy the culverts, we'll put them in. And we want to work with everybody. We don't want anybody having their land cut off, but by the same token, under maintenance, there's nothing we can do on that standpoint. It's kind of like your driveway too. You're responsible for your driveway too. You're also responsible for your drain culverts, so.
So your answer to that is that people will be notified?
Yes,
Thank you.
and people were in the past.
Are the townships notified as well, Bob? Or
Pardon?
are the townships notified as well?
Yes. We send them a list at the beginning of the year, the drains we plan on working on, so.
Is there any more questions of the drain commission? Can I have a motion to accept the drain report? Any-
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion and support, all in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Briefly, could you tell us a little bit about Turtle Bay? Are you prepared on that? William Lake,
About the what?
Turtle Bay.
Turtle Bay. Oh, that was Alabama. There's an individual on the lake that's trying to raise funds and to clean up Turtle Bay. I don't, people are familiar with it, but it's kind of a bay off the southern edge of Wiggins Lake, and it's filled in. It's pretty much, he has a proposal. I think he's looking for matching funds for like 10%, so I think it's a $250,000 project to dredge that area out. There's a grant through the state, and if they can come up with matching funds, they'll have a better chance of getting it. I guess. They get points for everything they do, and if they have matching funds.
The lake owners are pretty well in compliance with doing this, or?
Yeah, they, we, as a drain office and as a lake level, we don't have anything to do with it. I'm going to present it at the board meeting. I forwarded it all on to the board as you're aware, and he'll probably be at the meeting in May. So, I don't know, I think last fall, I sent the stuff from Paul where he suggested that we do a test run or try a certain area. He's, Paul Hauser is our consultant on the lake. And he said that it looks good. It's basically, this project is going to be dredging it out. The stuff he'd sent earlier was for using the oxygen to dissolve the muck. And it's pretty fantastic claims by a lot of these people, and I certainly hope they work. And this Luke Elmore has put a lot of work into putting this together. Hopefully it looks feasible, but there's a lot of filling in on the lake, which we'll have to address later on too. But that particular area is kind of bad, and especially if you live down in there.
It's on the south side of Higgins Lake.
Yeah, Turtle Bay.
I don't know where it is.
Pardon?
I said, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it's on the south side, maybe halfway down the lake or
Yeah.
so.
The southern.
Pretty much at the bend where the lake turns back and goes to the west.
Southern east part.
Pardon?
Southern east part.
On the east part, yeah.
No, thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Jacobson, please tell me.
Yes. Revitalization?
Yes,
Gladwin County has been involved, along with every other county in the state of Michigan, with what's called the remonumentation project, probably for about 15 years now. And it's somewhat of a lifetime project, it seems. But the project itself is intended to relocate and remark the original survey markers that were done back in 1970 or thereabouts. And some people call it the Surveyor's Relief Fund within the state of Michigan. But annually, the state of Michigan provides a grant to the county. The money for the grant itself comes from fees that are paid at the Register of Deeds office. And basically, each deed that goes into a statewide pocket divided up amongst all the counties. We have our grant for the funds that are available to Gladwin County. I'm asking permission to sign the grant and submit it for the funding. My plan this year to use the same surveying company to do the survey work, Latham and Associates, that we've used consistently with the project. At least twice a year, we have something called peer review meetings, which is where groups of surveyors sit down and review all the old records that are put together by the surveyors and then vote on corners. It's a public meeting. You are all invited to come to the meeting. In fact, if you have, it's interesting actually to watch surveyors sit and debate where a corner stake should be. It's interesting. It's a little dry at times. It's as good as looking at an insurance thing.
It's like watching them offload the invisible trucks over at Glenn's or.
I'll say. But you'll actually watch these guys and they talk about, such and such was a surveyor back in 1952 and he was always off by 3 feet or whatever. And we use typically older surveyors on the committee. I call them my committee of old farts because they are surveyors who have years of experience and are really interesting to watch them sit and talk about these things. So I'm asking that we approve the grant and that I also will continue to have Latham as the surveying company that does the field work.
I'll make that motion, and we approve the grant and continue with that one.
Sharon, you would love coming with
Motion is supported to sign the grant for Mr. Jacobson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, thank you.
Communications, farm show and garden show, March 27th. I believe that is out at the arena. And then also a scrap crop fundraiser, the 22nd. I don't know what that's all about, do you?
Yeah, they say it was on Saturday. It's to raise money for the backpack program. Buddy's backpack.
That was the consent.
I have a question on it talks about the Gladwin Nursing and Rehabilitation is hosting a luncheon, but it doesn't have a date. It has a time. It's on the back of the garden flyer.
Is it at that event that they're hosting it?
Well, I don't know, because it just says they're hosting a luncheon meeting from 12 to 1. But it doesn't say. Oh, okay. Okay.
Any questions on that? I'm going to take a jump ahead here. Then I'll go back.
Still moving.
I'm going to let Brad take an introduce for the person we're bringing on board. You tell a little bit what's going on and what you've done.
Good morning. Good morning. From the Office of Emergency Management, it has continued on. I think Bob Evans made a real obvious and appreciated comment in regard to the snow runoff. It's taken its time, thank you, God. A lot of frost coming and going, but the snow runoff hasn't massed up and flooded us out. This year, so far, again, I got to race, we're doing good. One of the things I'll mention, a week ago Friday, I went to a Region 3 district meeting down in Saginaw, and there were representatives there from the National Guard and from the Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers has hundreds of thousands of sandbags available at 12 cents a bag. However, I'm hearing that there may be another option available through someone standing by me. Very, very interesting, the camaraderie of Region 3. We are a member of 14 counties in Region 3, and they are very supportive of each other. If we have a problem, we can call on them for, it's the fire department mutual aid stuff that we can remember. But the counties themselves will kick in and bend over backwards just to help out a neighboring county. And it's really interesting. Only 2 months here that I've seen the togetherness of the Emergency Management Awareness Program through Homeland Security, which Gladwin is part of Region 3. Really, really exciting for me of what I've learned in 2 months. Thank you for putting me in there. And now I want to introduce Mary Ann Hill over here from St. Clair Shores, St. Clair County. Background that I don't have in everything involving computer. I'm lost, okay? She's got it, and she came into the office yesterday morning and started picking up things and going, oh, this is really neat. And she will list off what it was, and I go, I don't even know what that is. And she's all excited. So I'm real happy to have Mary Ann Hill here. And, you know, from that point, I'll let you go. What's on the paper that I handed out is what I've been doing in the last week. It's very brief. Can't even begin to explain how much running I have done to put that little tiny bit down there. But, what an office, what an office.
Well, Brad's gonna stick in, he's gonna stick around with us, be the deputy director. Mary Ann Hill's gonna come on board as the emergency management director. Brad has some personal things and found out that it's a big headache, which we knew. So, Mary Ann, tell us a little bit of your background and where you're going.
I have about 28 years experience, police, fire, EMS, and emergency management. My husband joined the fire department, and I said I can do that too. So I just kept going and kept going. Coming into Gladwin County, your program has to, we're going to start over. We need to start from the ground up. I spent the day yesterday looking at things that I thought were really exciting, and Brad went, really? So we're gonna start from the ground up. Gladwin is really unique. There is some things that I would like to do to bring it up to date, computer-wise, and bring some of my experience in. I also teach for the National Homeland Security on a national level, so I travel quite a bit. I am going to keep doing that, but I am going to cut it back. And the reason why I want to keep doing it is I meet with Gladwin counties all over the United States. And I'm one that goes, what are you doing? What does your website look like? What can we do to better our people? And part of that is working with Lancaster, Pennsylvania on their Amish and what we can do to get them a little bit more prepared, because we are kind of responsible for them. And Brad has done so much in 2 months to your emergency operation plan. It is updated, and it's going to the state as soon as I can get it on computer. And that's what they want to do. So I'm really looking forward to working with everybody, the fire departments, the police departments, because we're all one. So that's kind of like my background in a nutshell.
And there was a lot of things that we had to catch up in case there was a flood. We weren't covered. And sure we are now.
Hope so.
We're gonna get some sandbags and we're gonna stockpile them here. But we also have the option through the Michigan Emergency Management Act, or MEMAC, that we can go to Midland County. They have 5,000 they just got last week. And we can borrow those 5,000 and replace them at a later date. At 12 cents a sandbag, it's not bad when you're protecting great infrastructure, which you do have some that needs to be protected here.
Riverwalk is one of them. Anything else?
Nope.
We'll take and welcome you on board, and also we'll get with you this afternoon.
Yes.
Sit down with Brad and Laura and work out the total details, so, thank you. Welcome on board.
Thank you.
Jump back to committees. County Affairs Committee.
County Affairs, I have part of it in my report. I'm very pleased with, well, there are, we should have those, some flyers as a matter of fact. I have some. If any of you have not picked up the flyers that were put together by the County Affairs Committee, I'll put them right here on the desk. And please take one with you. There was a considerable amount of time went into compiling them. At our public forum last Wednesday, we had a total of 38 people that signed in on the sign-in sheets. That represented 11 townships in both cities. So, and I was very pleased with the questions. Laura typed up concerns and the people who brought those up, etc. And we will be making a copy of those so that all of us have them and make sure that we can address, have you know, responses to any of the issues that were brought up at that public forum. We don't have another county affairs meeting scheduled at this point in time. I'm just hoping that with everybody working together as they seem to be willing to do, and it's always good to have people playing devil's advocate, raising issues or raising concerns about the passage of the restoration of the headland. So that's kind of where we are.
Move on. Is there anything else left in finance that you have?
Yeah, a couple items. We spent a great deal of time negotiating with Cadillac Insurance Brokerage and Hans and his group. There's been a bit of a problem in getting the data transferred back and forth. We are attempting to evaluate the present plan design, especially as it concerns the deductible level. So that you're familiar with exactly how that's working currently, we've agreed to a plan with a $4,000 deductible and reimbursement back to each employee of $500. So in other words, the amount at risk for us is about $400,000. And last year, Laura gave the figures, it was about $282,000 that we paid in reimbursement.
Yep.
So what we do is we've got Hans Group giving us their opinion as well as Cadillac, and we're attempting to make certain, making certain that we aren't missing something that might help us save some more information. It's moving slowly, but we'll manage it. Now, the other thing is, in the committee of the whole, as well as the county affairs, Laura pulled the numbers for me. We paid $125,000 last year in gas and bill. Okay. This past 30 days, this past billing period, it was $9,000 just for the gas for the 5 locations that we have to heat. The maintenance on the boilers last year was $9,000. So it's obvious that since 1998, TD had a study done back then, and I've gone through it, evaluated and so forth, and even, in other words, this issue didn't just surface. We're wasting money by not upgrading our heating and cooling systems to a 90% efficiency type plan, and that we've got to get that one tied down as quickly as possible. Because and Terry and I went to all the offices, every office. We skipped none there were at least 5 space heaters being used by our clerks in different offices.
Don't say clerk,
Pardon me?
don't say clerk.
What are they called?
Wasn't it? Employees.
She thinks that's a president.
Wasn't me.
Okay. Our employees were heating themselves with personal heaters in different offices. Again, a waste, or, if they have to do it, obviously, but, those things are, anytime you use electricity to create heat, that's a serious amount of electricity, money going out the electricity. But, so these employees were having to use these so that they could work halfway decent income. And these kind of things we all need to be aware of them, but, that's gotta be factored into what we're doing, so.
And when the boiler just went down,
Yeah, went down
First of the week, yeah.
Was it Thursday?
so we're looking at getting prices on that to replace it.
The, that kind of thing is, as I said, with the report that Keith Edick had, in 1998, you know, and nothing's changed except the bill's gone down higher, so.
Anything else?
Let's see, one other. Oh, to tell you, the electric bill was $9,000 the last Thursday, finished that one. I probably forgot something, but.
Okay, thank you. Any miscellaneous, old business, new business? Why don't we go with Commissioner's reports? Commissioner Smith?
I attended the Beaverton Activity Center meeting on March the 11th, received an update on grant statuses, the programs that are available, and future fundraising plans for that particular activity. On March the 12th, there was a county affairs meeting with representatives from 10 townships, and I met with Gina Conrad and Walt Hart of Sherman Township concerning the GIS policy immediately after that. On the 13th, there was a land bank meeting in the morning, and I had Hay Township in the evening. I attended the legislative breakfast with Commissioners Walters and Altman, and Commissioner Walters did a fine job presenting county issues. Had a county affairs meeting on Monday, March 17th. Attended the library board meeting in Glavin on Tuesday, March 18th. Discussed the importance of the heavy restoration to the library because 30% of the library budget comes from penal fines. The Genealogy Society donated $1,000 to the library for the purchase of a large flat screen TV to be installed in the large meeting room. This will be used for programs and for special events. The May book sale by Friends of the Library will be May 15th, 16th, and 17th of 2014. And there were 4,103 patrons who used the library in February, and 1,684 used the computers that are available in the library. I participated in the public forum county affairs meeting on the 19th. There were 38 people who signed in representing 11 townships in both cities. I believe it went well and good information was shared and concerns were noted. On Friday, March 21st, I had the opportunity to ride with a Meals on Wheels driver. We made 8 stops, delivered 14 meals. This was a very interesting experience. And remember, the ribbon cutting for the new fire hall on M18 south of Beaverton is this coming Saturday at 1 p.m. That's my report.
Thank you. Mr. Smith? Mr. Carl?
Yeah, thanks, Terry. I did attend the March 12th County Affairs meeting with Commissioner Smith. I want to thank the board, especially Commissioner Smith, for having handling County Affairs meetings and on keeping up with the medical treatments and hoping for that kind of soon. Thank you, Sharon.
So, Commissioner
I attended the Glavin Sports Complex annual meeting, their fundraising. They're tying down their needs financially for the coming year. They need a tractor mower, and some flags. I was able to get Representative Johnson and Senator Molnar to make a contribution for flags for them. In Beaver City, it's business as usual. New council is still informing themselves of where to go and how to get there. The fair board meeting is similar. The new board member was elected to replace the vacancy. Lance Bingham was named as a replacement for this balance of this term. Then in the Human Services Coordinating Body, that material that was that I put on your desk was the types of handouts. There's always 25 or so interest groups that are in that meeting each month, and oftentimes I don't pass along what's being said, but many of those flyers would be of interest to at least a couple of them. So in the future, I'm going to make certain that I get copies for everybody, so you guys know what's going on in that particular meeting. Especially like the one of Mid-Michigan Community Action on the veterans benefits that they're trying for. And the Alzheimer's was the other. I did spend some time talking with the young man I met at a junkyard that Josh referred me to on helping him get his GED. He's a bright young man. I don't know why he slipped through the cracks, but I'm counseling him. He's a good worker, 21 years old, and I was 21 when I started college. That's what I told him. So I said, just get your GED and get enrolled. He was one of those that you and I had met and teaching us slipped through the cracks. Fine young guy, just needed a focus. So, and that's it.
Well, let's see. I attended the Grimm Township meeting on Tuesday the 11th, and they seem to be doing okay. They had no questions for me. They were doing their board review, and all appeared to be going well. Later that same day, I attended the Barrett Township meeting, and they have some concerns about the condition of one of their roads and how the blacktop is going bad, but they do not have a plan to do anything about it yet. I attended the EDC meeting on the 12th in Gladwin. Their website is now up and running, and it is Gladwin County Economic Development Corporation. They talk about a number of things that are going on around Gladwin County, including the city of Beaverton, the city of Gladwin, and the things that they want to work on and the programs they're hoping to provide. They have an interest in bringing in new business, repairing old buildings, what's going on at the hospital, the city county transit, and they have a representative there from Consumers Power. I've got a lot to learn with that group. On the evening of the 12th, I attended the Wixom Lake Improvement Board meeting in Billings Township. They will be getting ready to do a weed treatment program as the water warms up, maybe around the middle of June. They held their election of officers, and those positions remain the same. The airport meeting was on the 13th. Here again, these guys are working hard to approve what they have, and they have a plan to expand the number of hangars at the airport. They have a revenue generates from renting out hangars at the airport. They're also looking, and it's in the future, though I think, that weather tower.
That was the steering, extra steering.
Yeah. On the 19th, I attended the Secord Township meeting. Rick Seebeck was there to talk about the bus millage for Gladwin County. They are asking for a half mil to replace buses that are old, and so he was there presenting that. Secord Township, their cell tower should be up by the end of the month. It's a Verizon tower. They also are currently working on a master plan and their own zoning. They are also talking, I believe, about doing some weed treatment in the lake this summer. I was here on the 19th for the forum. It would have been really nice to have seen more people here, but I was glad that there were the ones here that came, and I thought it was a very good meeting, and it was very enlightening as to some of the comments that were made. After that, I had to rest. That was a pretty good
The next year thing, that's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
Remember, Mike's making a deal with NextSteer again for them to implement the airstrips, which brings in about $200 a day. All they do is test their steering and don't cause any problems. And in fact, I was with one of their supervisors out in that county last week, and they like coming in because no problem with traffic and congestion. But
I called my boss, today is our anniversary for 37 years, so. I missed out on Sage because I've had other appointments I had to get to. Chamber breakfast, spoke on that, at that. That was very, very good. I had a lot of input, and it was a good breakfast. Glavine City meeting, the 17th. 18th with Cadillac Insurance. 19th we had a public forum. I think that went great. 20th we had finance. And tonight I have mental health in Mount Pleasant. And last meeting I spoke about Joe White. And I really didn't give him justice for what he's done. 19 years as a veteran on the Players Committee at the next door. Been a super person to have on board. But you look at some of the bombing squads and things that he was on. He was on the U.S. Saratoga, the Hancock, all over different places he's been. And I don't know how many Bronze Stars and Silver Stars. I can count 3 of them right here, just that he's accumulated over that time that he was there. So I would like to thank him for his service. And we give him a plaque at the last meeting of the veterans, so I'd just like to recognize him again and thank him. And that's all I have on that. Is there anything else that we're missing comment-wise? Is there any public comments? Yes.
Our guest site is finally up and running. Our site is glavinecounty.us. We've had a member site for years, but now we have a guest site so people can view the indexing for free, and then they can log in to view the document. It's $5 to log in, and then $3 goes to our vendor to maintain it, $2 we get, and then we get $1 per page printed.
Is that on our website?
No, I probably need to get up set up.
We can get that later on.
Okay. So just in the first couple of weeks, we generated like $300.
Anything, comment, yes.
I do have something. Between Thursday and yesterday, I've been contacted by Consumers Energy. They were projected towards me for addressing. You know, we had the uniform addressing and whatnot, and it's kind of went by the wayside as far as having any meetings or whatever. I think Bill Rhodes is still on the committee, myself and Brew Baker and whomever, but like Mark Solden from the Road Commission is gone. He needs to be replaced. We need a commissioner on that as well. So I think we can get that committee up and running. But the problem that Consumers has is there's a customer that wanted their address changed because they live at the corner of an intersection and their address was off of this road, and I happen to know it because it's kitty corner from your son. And so I knew exactly what she was talking about, but the address was on the other road, is where they really were. But their address said it was Lyle Road when their driveway was Rowers Road. So it should have been switched. It was never done, so these people have been wanting it, to get done, but they're afraid, is 911 gonna know where they're at and everybody else. So Consumers made that address change. So they're looking for somebody at the county level that they can contact so that everything gets changed. I said, because you gotta get 911, register of deeds, to the treasurer, equalization. I'm sure all these people are gonna need to know that this address has been changed, but I'm not the one to do that, and I'm not the one to send it to all the people as well. So I just thought this was something that probably should go to the Uniform Addressing Committee, and I told Jill at Consumers that, I would let her know, and her herself couldn't come to a meeting because she's like downstate, but they would send a local representative because they said Consumers is no longer doing the addressing for Loudoun County. They're done. They did this change of address, but somebody at Gladwin County really needs to be the person authority. And that's what they're looking for, so.
Mr. Brubaker, is there a chairman to that committee?
I don't know if we had a.
I think Bill has,
Bill was.
Bill has been.
Bill was the commissioner that was on it, and he's still on there as a committee
The
at large,
board
member at
kept
large.
him on that committee.
Right, I
Yeah.
think we just need a commissioner now to be on that committee. And then schedule a meeting, whoever at the road commission, the new guy probably would just take over and
I think that's what you guys did.
was put Bill so you
Just
didn't need a
keep him as a
commissioner.
board representative.
Oh, okay, I thought it was member at large, but we're members.
Do you have any member openings? Because I do all the street indexing for the voter file, I would love to be part of that if you have any
Yes.
Jump on board,
openings.
come on in. Yep.
I think we probably need a chairman or somebody to.
I think Bill has kind of been active.
Yeah, Bill's always
Because
been,
he's
and
the
that's
one
why,
that brought it to
when he
the
was
county.
done, I just kind of made it important at the board, I said, we need to keep Bill on this. He's been on it since day one, since the inception of it, and every time we bring it back, like, he's the one that spearhead it and get everything going, it's like, I thought it was important to keep him there. So he is still involved, I'm sure he's chair, or we can, at the first meeting, make that.
Will you get together with Mr. Brubaker?
Yeah, and I think it was,
Yeah, that committee used to
myself,
meet regularly, but what,
road
I think what Gene is asking is, once there's been a reduction in the commission from 7 to 5, I think that just kind of has fallen off. But now would be a good time to jump back into that, because GIS has went through and has updated the
We've done
county
our
maps.
plan
The road
addressing.
commission now is selling the updated maps. There's a lot of things going on GIS and mapping wise in the county that uniform addressing committee has to probably get their hands on and formulate some type of authority. Because not only is Gina getting inundated with calls, I've also had calls for addressing corrections and whatnot, which is not of my authority.
right.
So I think that's what we're asking for, is to reestablish that. Now we have a board secretary, maybe get with her and get some dates put on the calendar.
Good, get that, get some dates and
Yes.
get moving.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, and just add Laura to it.
And what was the name of the committee?
Uniform addressing committee?
Okay.
Yep, and it should be, in your address book, it should be the group in there. And then if you have any questions, you can call.
Okay. Is that what you talked to me about the other day, you had a vacancy on, was that the one?
Oh, no, my gypsy mom committee. So, right now, there's two members, so we're gonna have a meeting here in a week. And then if, we need a third member, I guess, we'll add one. But I have a commissioner now, so.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Anything else? Motion to receive and file. So moved. Support. Motion support, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion support, all in favor?
There was